So I think your point was not to get sucked into the actual doing of the work.
Exactly, and a project manager a knowledge management is even higher than a project manager. When you run a project, you don't do everything on the project yourself. You get people to work for you. You manage the project. We're looking at managing even higher level. You're managing the knowledge that is above the project management issue. So you cannot be doing the programming, and you cannot be doing every bits and pieces on the project. You never get the project.
No, I think you kind of missed the point. I think it's you're a totally different point. I think from what I said is that a manager should not be down doing the work. They should be managing. But I also see it, as I say with the engineer, that there are some things that need to be done. And whether you call it a Java program or a KM Java programmer, they need special skills to be able to work on that team to do what it is you're bringing them there to do. You still need that level to manage it. But
let me follow. Java programming is not a core competency because there's 100 programming languages there. We cannot define them as core competencies for knowledge manager. So, no, I mean,
this is... You're right.
But
I think you're both on different points.
I mean, what I mean here is that we really need to be careful with what we need the knowledge management professional, competent at. And I agree, if they knew the language, that will make the job even easier. I'm not saying they should not.
People should know Java programming.
But you see what?
Don't do that. I think we need to separate out those skills so that we can get qualified people.
I mean, we could say that knowledge of those areas would be an advantage, thing, but we cannot. They're not competencies. That's my point.
Yeah, good point. Annie? I'm not going to. I'm going to talk about something else. How about that? I think Denise said young people, and
me?
Yeah,
or that one?
No, I think somebody said young people. I think we should talk about young people. I think we should talk about the future of work if we're going to talk about knowledge. It won't be very long before the under 25s come into the workforce. Yeah. We hope. We hope they find jobs, right? And how are they going to work? And what are the roles of whatever we want to call them, knowledge professionals, is actually to encourage their contribution and participation in the workforce. That's what they want. That's what they're doing. And we haven't talked about social media. Maybe we won't be using Java. Down the line, things are changing so quickly, and the whole idea of engagement and how do you foster and engage young people? How do you share your knowledge with them? How do you coach them? Those are the real key roles right now for knowledge professionals, for managers, for leaders at the workplace, wherever they are. Where are the ideas coming? When you look at Twitter, when you look at Facebook, how old is Mark Zuckerberg? 26. Nobody managed him. He didn't even know he didn't really have a specific idea.
Actually, he wanted to find girls.
He wanted to find girls. Okay, that was his goal. He did have a goal. He did have a goal. And Twitter, they didn't really know what it was actually going to be used for. So we're really looking at a whole different world of creativity. So how do you foster and engage in the workplace? We're all probably working in very old type of institutions. What's the average age of an institution? Something like 40 years. We forget that. Really institutions change. Even nations change, as we can say, right?
So just a quick comment so I can get out of here, but seriously, I'm just going back to Steve's comment about, the size of KM departments and whether or not there should be KM departments kind of thing. For me, I'm going to vote that I want generalists. I want people who have a very broad knowledge in this space. I don't want them to be expert programmers necessarily. I'd like them to understand the implications of how you build change management into technology. I want them to understand these important issues. I don't want somebody who's stovepiped in a soda straw who never expects to do anything but this one thing, because my customers need different things. And if all you do is COPs, that's not good enough. I need you to be able to go do a knowledge retention activity. I need you to go run a lessons learned workshop. I need you to work on an AAR. And so I think that really defeats what we're trying to do, and it really it hurts the marketplace, I think, because how do these people move around and get career progression and not get burnt out doing one thing many times the same way they've done it for a long time? So I think this broad generalist is really what we need, and I think specialization and preferences will occur over time, but when I get them, I want them really broad and knowledgeable, maybe not practiced, but broad.
Well, following up exactly with what you're saying, if we go back to a 1996 study, competencies in knowledge management by a chap named Jute in South Africa. He interviewed execs and personnel people in 250 companies, and he described exactly what you said. In other words, the tools, the software, irrelevant. People and relationship skills, critical thinking, problem-solving skills, that's what they all said. Give me those people, and I'll turn them into a knowledge manager.
Could I just go next, please? As a implementer of KM, I'm at Fort Huachuca in southern Arizona. Things that I see that are trends in leadership, and I'm going to use leadership universally with knowledge management because I see them being synonymous. What I find in my own history is that as an entrepreneur and an old infantry guy that went Intel, having a diverse background, heading on to generalists, being able to just get stuff done, period, regardless of knowledge set. And I'm kind of an anti-formal methodology of show me the path. Once someone gets the whole systematic approach going, that turns me off because I'm more of an artist when it comes to creating solutions. And what I find in the Army Knowledge Management Program is that you've got a lot of folks that were born and raised in the system that are now knowledge management, and there's no way to get a 90-degree angle in there. So I'd like to throw in there to be an entrepreneur as a trait, as a KM professional.
I think I echo that, and at the same time, I think we are still confusing the knowledge workers with the knowledge professionals, because we cannot also somehow our own world cannot rotate around IT. I mean, if you think about someone in bioinformatics or medical or something, and they are in very specialized area. I mean, it's the same thing as a Java programmer. There's someone doing research in bioinformatics and turn a company into $1 billion overnight company. So it's not necessarily just we think about Facebook, but there's other people, doing medical and medicine and that sort of thing. So these are knowledge workers. I mean, those are people are knowledge workers. And we're kind of confuse them with knowledge professionals. I mean, a knowledge professional is a facilitator, as you said, is an artist, more or less. But the real knowledge worker is the doctor, the engineer, the researcher, the Facebook inventor. Those are real knowledge workers. And I don't see them coming to do master in knowledge management.
But I'd just like to say, I think we're going down the same path again, though, of saying it's either this or this. And I think the idea of the forum is to try to say there are roles that are strategic, there are roles that are specialized, there are roles that are generalists, there are roles that are universal. And one of the next questions is, and what do we need in terms of learning opportunities for each of those different areas? Okay? Not everybody should get a master's in knowledge management, but you can be, I think you can be a knowledge professional without having a master's in knowledge management, because there are some ways to learn knowledge management that you're already a business professional, but you're picking up knowledge management skills and some competencies that make you a more effective person in that business role. So I think, I really hope that this forum can help us move beyond the traditional argument we get stuck on, which is it's either workers or it's professionals or it's this or it's this. My view is all of the above, and we just have to figure out how to make it all work together.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, I don't know that what model works and what environment. Just part of the contribution here is what models kind of work for you. And maybe the generalization approach actually works in some places, but in giving my experiences, I've tried both. And it is very difficult to find a knowledge professional that has the breadth of everything that you need.
But it's context sensitive.
No, I'm just giving my view, but that comes in and that can actually do each of those components that they need to do. And I have found that to be very difficult. Now, let's say if we bring somebody in and go back to the old method of maybe bringing them in a position and then start rotating them around so that they can learn each of the positions. And here again, if they have the ability. Because you're talking a lot of different skills with it, and that's why it didn't work for me. You got technologists, and it's not good to really sometimes put them in where they have to deal with people and doing certain types of meetings. So you have to think about those competencies and look at how they fit across those initiatives, and then say what people fit. Because there is something that you got to have a best fit or a proper fit of people too. You can't expect them to do all sometimes, and they're not capable of doing all.
See, that's where context is important, right? Because in our KM function, we never get to that level of detail on building a tool. We have IT and IM practitioners that we partner with, so that's why I said to you, it's context specific. In my business context, I don't have to do that. So I can go to a generalist model and it works very well. Now, if I had to have those kind of skills on my team, I would have to have that specialization. But I think in general, it helps people to have that generalist background so they can go from Shell to Lockheed to GM to go to different industries and be able to contribute and learn and build their skills over a lifetime instead of doing one assignment or one 4-year stint in knowledge management and you never see them again.
And shifting to consulting on knowledge management and going from industry to industry, you've got to be able to, I usually bring someone with me to those meetings that is an industry specialist, if we're going to oil or if we're going to, wherever. But the thing is, you do need to be able to stay flexible enough and have, flexible enough perspectives and frameworks in order to apply, in order to help people